the working with Frank and Alan, they were so completely different. Frank got to the point where we spoke in a shorthand, so I would get a lot of, I'd read his script, but where in the past when I would work with a writer who gave me a full script, it would be like the scene where Garrett undergoes his reconstruction at S.H.I.E.L.D. There might be, a whole description about the machinery or whatever. And Frank was just, this is, Garrett's reconstruction. And it's like, and I just ran with it. So, I mean, I'm of the mindset where it's like, if you want me to get you from point A to point B, that's fine. Just let me decide how to get there. If there's any specific beats you need, let me know. But other than that, it's like, I don't need to know what angle, I don't want to know any of that. I want to be a contributor and a mindset. It's not like I'm just the set of hands, like I just cut them off, leave them at the drawing board, and the rest of me is going to go scuba diving. It doesn't work like that for me. I fully commit and fully invest, and and I found that when I was doing Stray Toasters as well. I mean, I started living at my studio. I just became completely immersed in the doing of it. The whole thing with Stray Toasters was, one, I'd always written my own stuff growing up. And when you get into comics, especially if you're going to work for a company that where they're dividing breakdown artists, pencil artists, ink artists, finishing artists, letterer, colorist, where you have all of these, slots where it's an assembly line. You're a penciler, and it's like, I want to do more than that, like penciler, colorist, writer. For me, it was like I wanted to do what I'd always done, which was write, draw, paint, do the whole storytelling thing my own way. So if it was going to fail, it was going to fail on no one else to blame. But it was I felt like I really just needed to do that to stretch my wings and my legs, and and also it was like I'm working with some of the most amazing writers. I mean, Chris Claremont, Frank, Alan. Now, again, when you mentioned earlier about the difference between the two, I mean, Frank was much more shorthand, where Alan, everything that there was that sort of rumor or well-known secret or not secret, that his scripts are very, very dense, and they are. I mean, he would have background characters, described where their lives were basically, written about, that would not show up in any capacity in the story. And it worked counter to part of the way that I love working, which is let me get you there. It's like, so Alan, he had everything pretty much like laid out in such a schematic fashion that there was only so much I could do to basically insert myself in any kind of latitude. But at the same time, it's like I could have gone in and done what I normally do, but then it wouldn't have been as fully formed as what Alan was doing, what he did. And I really loved what Alan was doing, so I tried to put myself in the position of being at the service of. I wonder, I mean, if is it a failing in terms of collaboration, or is it my way of collaborating that when I feel the most effective way of collaborating is that you're going to get my interpretation of things. I mean, with big numbers, it would have been my big pushing of the boundaries would have been to give a character a beard. It's like, wow, I really, it's like, it's not what you wrote, was it? It's like, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm just going to throw in some camels and, and a couple of alien spaceships and, and desanguination of cows. It's like, that's not what the story's about. Stray Toasters is something I've been thinking about writing for a long time. I mean, it went through many iterations. I mean, it was like 5 years since I started, from inception to finishing up. One of the things I love about Toasters is that they're all designed to do one thing, but they're completely unique. And because of the stuff that I was doing in therapy, there's there are certain syndromes and scenarios that kids grow up with about the parenting child, and sort of the old adage of children should be seen and not heard. And the idea of a toaster is one of those devices that sits on your kitchen table or on your counter, and you use it once a day, maybe, make toast in the morning or a bagel. And then the rest of the day, it's just sitting there, and it's like, okay, I'm done with that until I need it again. And I've seen, and these are things that I dealt with in therapy, I thought that the idea of being an appliance for parents, it's like a kid. It's like, okay, because there are some kids who are put on the assignment of making their parents feel better. Like where they're, the parents aren't there to help the kids. The kids are there to basically console and to take care of the parents. So, but when it comes time for the kid to need parenting, certainly in my own, growing up, I mean, part of what I wanted to do is I wanted to actually rescue my mom so that she could be a good mom to then be my mother. So we all have these mechanisms in life that we're all handed our own baggage. And I just thought that it felt like the idea of doing something that was sort of a murder mystery, sort of science fiction, but also something that was psychologically based, and like a primal scream of creativity, the things that I wanted to try that felt like it was a very personal, experiment for me. So the idea of stray toasters was that, it was a metaphor for me, a complete metaphor for kids that were sort of cast aside or made into utensils